welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, the only podcast to get all the news from the world of rugby. And there's a lot of competitions this week. We've got Women's Six Nations, Premiership, Super Rugby, URC. We've got Challenge and Champions Cup coming up next week. So I've called in some reinforcements. Joining us yet again is Andy. Thank you for joining me. And we've called in some even more reinforcements from the other side of the world. Joining us from the beloved Aotearoa, Ella Ferguson. Ella, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You're very welcome. How's everyone been? Because it's been a wild weekend of rugby.
It has that. Yeah, lots to watch.
Lots to watch, lots to talk about. So we'll just dive straight in. Start off with the Women's Six Nations, get the internationals out the way because the clubs kind of take over. Start off on Saturday, Scotland against France, 15-5 points to France. I'm gutted. We were so close to making history, but we're on the right steps. It's all good. Then, bit of a thumping down in Bristol. England versus Wales, 46-10. Good luck to anyone who's even going to get close to England because they are just running roughshod this tournament. Ellie Kildunn, last week she did all her tries outpacing the opponents. This week she outmuscled them. Walking cheat code. And game of the weekend for me on the Women's Six Nations. Sorry, Andy, but the Azzurri came to Dublin and got a famous victory, 27-21. It was a good game. And Ireland, to me, they're doing the right things. They're just not doing enough of it. I know that might be a bit vague and stupid, but compared to last year, you felt very.
They are improving.
Yeah, everyone's improving. Great, but fair play, Ellie, because it looked like after last week with the player advantage for so long and still getting no points to come away from home to get a famous victory. Yeah, fair play on that. So yeah, all good. And then we get a break next week, which men's, women's, under 20s. I don't like it. I don't like the break in the Six Nations. I hate it.
You're not a fan?
No, it's such a momentum killer.
But you know, I felt that this season, I think more than any other season. Like it felt as though maybe because the first couple of games everything went as expected, and then there's that break, and it's like there hasn't been a huge shock yet. Nobody's that excited, and then you take a week off. But I mean, the players need some rest.
Did it go expected? I feel like there was a controversial decision for us. I'm saying nothing else. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay, all right.
The pain.
I know.
As someone
my apologies.
As someone who was watching the Six Nations for the first time kind of in a live capacity and actually watching the games, that was really confusing to me that there was a big break because we don't really have that in any of our competitions in the Southern Hemisphere. So I thought I was kind of in your boat, Andy, of like, oh, you know, we've just been building up through this competition, getting all this hype, and then, we all go back to our club teams, which I thought was kind of strange too. Everyone just kind of going between camps like that. I don't know if that's confusing for players. Is that something they've spoken out about before?
It's not even fairly distributed across the league. Like if you play in the top 14, you might go back and play in a huge game. If you play in the Premiership, you might go back and play in a huge game. If you play for Ireland, like they're wrapping you in cotton wool in between those international games. You're not playing at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it definitely creates kind of unfair advantages, I think. But you know what? It also makes me wonder, seeing as we have a Southern Hemisphere input this week, the way they seem to go better in World Cups, playing like lots of games one after the other, whereas like the Northern Hemisphere teams, with the exception of England, kind of seem to tire as the tournament goes on. And I wonder if it's because they just don't play enough big games together regularly and they're just not conditioned for it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think the season in club or franchise in the Northern Hemisphere is a bit longer, and then we've got kind of the NPC, which not many All Blacks play in, and then Super Rugby, which is long but not that long. I think there's a real I guess the difference with having all of our players based in New Zealand who are playing for the All Blacks is the All Blacks head coaches get a lot more say in how they're managed. So I think the rules are for this season that All Blacks have to rest mandatory 2 games throughout the whole season. So I wonder if that also contributes to it, that for a lot of countries, not England, I guess, you know, their players could be anywhere. And so how much say does an international head coach get over their load management when, say, one franchise has players from Scotland, they have players from France, they have players from South Africa. So yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting point.
Yeah, they changed it in the Premiership, didn't they, this season? For the first time, there's like a bit more control for the RFU, but I think it's still like nothing compared to New Zealand sounds pretty similar to Ireland, like the union just has final say, pretty much.
Yeah.
Scotland's a weird one because we've only got 2 clubs. So, like, if you're in the Scotland team, most likely you're not going back to your club. You'll get the odd that's just generally not getting game time. So, right, you go back, you get some game time, then you come back in. That's fine. But then, like, you've got Finn Russell that isn't Scottish based, and he will go back to Bath and then can play for Bath. It's up to it's up to Bath, which is, I don't like it. It was the same when he was at Racing. I was like, you've got a squad of 40 guys. You don't need them. You just don't. Like, it doesn't matter what game it is. You do not need your international players. I think just leave them if they're on duty. That's like that. They're not available to you. But that's not my decision to make.
I mean, it would be simpler.
It would be a lot simpler, but that's not the world we live in.
No.
But sticking with Southern Hemisphere, Ella, Super Rugby. A lot happened.
A lot happened. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. We might as well start with the first result. The Crusaders are back on the horse, everyone. They have joined the party. They've got off the big fat donut and they recorded their first win against the title champions, the Chiefs. Now, they opened the competition with the Chiefs 6 weeks ago and then got another go at them at home this week. Final score was 37-26. Shout out to Johnny McNichol, who is fresh off the flight back from Scarlets, and he lit up this performance. I want to know, I guess, from you guys, the Crusaders are probably one of the most famous franchises in the history of rugby. What's been kind of the Northern Hemisphere reaction to this start to the season for them, if any?
We were joking about this the other week. They're just like, is it because like Razor's gone? Is it because Moanga's away? Or is it just a whole different system that the players weren't getting on? There was no answer. I don't think you're the answer, really. It was just a bit of a weird one. When you go like, Crusaders have won 7 titles in a row. They've not won in 5. It was really weird. But
it's one of those, you just kind of sit there thinking, like, how long is this really going to go on for? Because you don't know too much about the ins and outs of the league. You know they're going to start winning eventually. But it's like, how can so much go so wrong? But I guess when you say, Moanga gone, coach gone, that's you've got to regenerate, right? And that's always going to be difficult.
Well, yeah, and to give, I guess, context, so yes, Richie Moanga's gone, Sam Whitelock gone, Scott Robertson gone, Lester Fainga'anuku also gone. So that's some pretty crucial players. But then from the group that they had at the start of the season, Will Jordan gone for the season with a shoulder injury. They've gone through 3 number 10s. Fergus Burke, who I think is on Saracen's radar, he's been out. Cody Taylor's not there this season. Scott Barrett got injured. He was out for 6 weeks. Who else? Oh, Tamiati Williams pulled his hammy going for an absolutely incredible try in the first round. They've just been absolutely depleted. So I think the bye that's coming this week, they've got their win from round 6, then they've got the bye, and then I think they're getting a bunch of players back from injury. So never trust that the Crusaders are down and out, I think. And this tournament has 12 teams. You only have to make the top 8 to make the playoffs. So I think there's definitely still hope for the Crusaders.
That might be the most talented list of missing players I've ever heard in my life. Like,
it's not
so many
great.
big names. Yeah, so many big names.
It's rough. Running through some other results just briefly. So the Rebels, the financially challenged Rebels, proving that there's still hope. They beat the Waratahs 27-21 in a bit of an upset. And then the other game that I wanted to talk about, which you've probably seen all over the internet, is the Fijian Drua playing the Western Force at home in Fiji. Did you guys see any clips from this game?
Yes.
I actually ended up watching the whole game just because I could sleep. So I was, we'll watch some rugby. That game should not have been played.
No.
Nobody likes the rain anyway. Nobody likes the drizzle. I don't even
I'm gonna come in with the counterpoint. If I get to see Ravatomada gassing up the field, beating everybody, and then taking a mouthful of water on his dive, that was amazing. I loved that.
It was the screenshot, just incredible.
It was brilliant. But God, they seems like they're going well.
They're going pretty well. Yeah, because they had a top 8 finish last season. I know that they're looking to try and make those, the top 4. I think they love playing at home. I think they've lost only one game of the last sort of 8 they've played in Fiji. So that is becoming a bit of a fortress. I would be very scared if I was any other team going to play there. The Force put up a bit of a fight, but yeah, I just saw that picture of everyone's favorite halfback, Nick White, just covered in mud, and it made me very, very pleased. So yeah, the Ndrua looking good. They've got some big names. They're playing next week. I have it somewhere. They're playing the Rebels, so hopefully that can be another win on the bounce for them, and build a bit more momentum. Not so good for their other Pacific neighbour, Moana Pacifica. They lost to the Blues 47-8 in a big drubbing. So I think that was disappointing. They'd been showing some real promise, and that was a bit of a confidence kind of knock. My team, the Highlanders, also got a drubbing thanks to the Hurricanes, who are just looking unstoppable really at this point. But Cam Roigard, a pretty serious injury on the weekend. Yeah, potentially a patella tendon tear, which is apparently a 6-month sideline. I know that's
a shame.
Really gutting. Huge shame. But for the Canes, how wild that you can lose your top halfback and you're bringing on TJ Petinata. Like, there's no problem for them at the moment.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Cam Roigard, because obviously Aaron Smith out of the picture now. It looked like Cam's going to be the one to take us forward. It's all right though, because you've got the Ginger Wonder from Scotland. I still don't know. I can say this now because we've got someone from the Southern Hemisphere. How Scotland just never noticed that, never called him up to a camp or nothing, baffles me.
Yeah.
Was he qualified?
He's born in Peebles.
Oh, mate. That's a big miss.
He's Scottish born, and we didn't pick him. We're too busy scouting South Africans. It's fine.
It's fine. I mean, look, maybe he'll be out of a job this year, so maybe he can wait 3 years and get roped over. But yeah, no, disappointing for Roigard. He's been probably the best in the competition. His stats are incredible, so that's really gutting. And then to finish off the round, a real cliffhanger between the Reds and the Brumbies, the big Australian derby. I thought the Reds were going to come out on top on this, but yeah, the Brumbies managed to pull through. I think Noah Lolesio, who's the number 10 for the Brumbies, is looking like he's going to get a Wallabies recall up under Joe Schmidt. But yeah, big round of rugby. I think that Crusaders result was a great way to start it off.
I agree, completely agree. So I just I've said this to Andy, but I love Super Rugby just because I have no affiliation to any teams. I just sit back and watch very free, loose, free-flowing rugby. Champagne rugby almost. It's just
Champagne
rugby at its finest. And
yeah,
an underrated thing, the commentators, they make a hype about every try, every kick, and it just makes you feel awesome. Sean Maloney, I love Sean Maloney. He just makes everything sound like it is the best thing ever. It could be the most boring game, but not if you're listening to Sean Maloney doing it. There's
a group here called the Alternate Commentary Collective, and they're a bunch of comedians, and they've got the rights now on Sky Sport, but you can find them on iHeartRadio and sync them up with the video, and they are hilarious, and they commentate usually 2 games a weekend, and they've got these ridiculous nicknames for all the players. So Mark Talia is Princess Talia, and Scott Barrett is Dog Roll, and so they're just very funny. So if you're looking for another level to your Super Rugby experience, I would recommend that. But yeah, no, it's been a really, really good season. I think people were, Super Rugby is on its last legs. It's dying. We've, lost without the South Africans, which I do think we miss the South Africans. No disrespect at all intended. But I think this has been a really reviving season of Super Rugby so far. The actual rugby has been so good. And controversially, maybe to some people, I don't know if it's that controversial, but I think the law changes have been really good. I've really enjoyed, they've been enforcing the use it a lot quicker. So there's been a real impetus to speed up the game, and I think you can see that. I don't know, that's just me though, because I'm a Southern Hemisphere gal and we love free-flowing rugby.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do like the golden point rule. I think that needs to be brought over here. I don't like draws. I hate them. Same with like overtime in United States for sport and all their sport. Really, they have overtime. No more draws. Just let's get a clear-cut winner. Doesn't matter how it's done. It could be an extra 30 seconds. It could be an extra half an hour. I don't care. I just want to see a winner.
More rugby is Murray's MO. More rugby. I've seen, Andy, I know you've been talking about the fallacy of kind of the ball and play stat and, you know, people being like, oh, we want more ball and play, and then thinking that it's XYZ that's causing that. After watching a lot of rugby, I feel like, well, this kind of over the last couple of weeks, I think where it is actually it's an injury stoppages, you know, when people are needing to be tended to, and that's what tends to chew up a lot of the game. And so I'd be really interested. I know Intermac did an interview a while ago saying, oh, well, the only way for me to kind of recover and get my body fully right was actually for me to get injured and have months and months and months off. So I wonder if when the question is going to come up for World Rugby about actually maybe the issue is that these players, you know, the load management of these players, and we're having to have these stoppages because the game is so attritional. People are really getting knocked. And so that's when there are those big pauses that maybe can take the crowd out of the game. I don't know.
I see. I agree 100%. Like, I think a lot of the complaining about the pace of the game, it's completely devoid of the context of what the players are going through. Like, they've all gotten so big and so fit, and like they're all elite athletes now. It's not like it used to be when they were kind of part-timers boozing all the time. It's just not that way anymore. Like, they're all built like Superman. They're all running into each other at top speed the whole way through the game. Like, there's only so much of that a person's body can do. It's just going to give up. It doesn't matter how fit you are because the intensity is so high now.
Yeah, I think people have just got the wrong end of the stick on that argument a little bit. And the other thing, maybe, sorry, derailing a little bit, but the other thing that I think makes people feel like there's all these stoppages, this might be a hot take. I don't want that much music when I'm sitting in the crowd watching a game. I think that takes the crowd out of it. I think give the crowd some responsibility to kind of build the atmosphere, because every time there's a stoppage, I'm like, and the music plays, I'm like, oh, okay, now, you know, we don't look and we talk, whatever. But if we're actually sitting there, you've got to maybe start a chant, you're building the atmosphere yourself. I feel like that would help get the sense of continuity, maybe. I don't know.
Not to take us further on a massive tangent, but if you ever watch Egg Chasers on YouTube, he has a pretty constant thing he says where he's like, I wish rugby would stop apologizing for itself. And I feel like all of the music and the extra entertainment in the stadium, that's kind of what that is. Like, it's because we don't want to lean into the aspects of the game that are maybe a bit polarizing. Like, if you lean into them, like the physicality and the fact that it's completely weird and the rules are bizarre and it feels like it's something from 100 years ago, if you leaned into all of that, the people who liked it would like it and they'd come. But what they're doing at the moment is like they're stuck in the middle, and it's like, oh, we'll play chart music. It's like everyone in the stadium is a 40-year-old man. You know, if you really do the breakdown, like, this isn't the right entertainment. They're just trying to please everybody, and I worry that going that way, you end up pleasing nobody.
I think having conviction about your sport and what's good about it is going to sell the game as well. Like, because if you're a random person, I don't know, on Twitter or on TikTok, and you just see people complaining about the game all the time, you're not going to want to watch it. So take our responsibility as hype people seriously.
And to your point, like, when people do build an atmosphere on their own, and when there isn't as much stuff happening in the stadium, and you get like singing and you get those real spine tingling moments, that stuff draws people in just as much as good rugby does. Like, that's huge. People just want to go to something that feels good. Like, people want to be involved in something that feels like it matters.
Yeah, and feels connected to the other people in the crowd, right? And so when there's music, you're talking to the person maybe just next to you, but when you're Mexican waves and you're chanting and all sorts. Okay, we're solving every single problem here right now.
Done.
Someone
it's
pay
done.
us money.
I'm telling you now, World Rugby just need to listen to RCP. The stuff we used to predict stuff with guests, like way back when we started. For any guests we had on, they would have something like a throwaway comment like, I'd love to be in the Six Nations squad. That was it. They'd be in the next squad. I'd love to win this trophy. They'd win that trophy. I'd want us to qualify for the World Cup. They'd qualify. And I'm like, and they got to like 8 or 9 predictions. I'm like, listen to us. It just happened. They say stuff and it happens. It doesn't always happen. It's not
you got to start charging people. Charge people to come on the podcast. Make their dreams come true.
Make their dreams come true. Although I don't like getting asked when I'm pitched the idea for a guest, they go, "How much?" I'm like, "Oh no, 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 no." I was like, "I don't earn money. Andy's not getting any money. Ella's not getting any money. Just because you won a World Cup doesn't mean you're getting my money." I've interviewed 5 World Cup winners that cost me nothing. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't need to cost me pennies.
Typical Scotsman attitude.
Jesus. Brutal. I'll let you decide where we go next. Because we're going back to the Northern Hemisphere. Do we go Premiership or do we go URC? I'm easy because there's a lot to talk about either way.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we start with the Premiership?
Premiership,
I think
okay.
that's where
So,
the biggest talking point is.
starting on the Friday night, we had 2 games, one close. Well, actually 2 close, but one more thrilling. Newcastle versus Leicester. Tigers getting the win. Just 19 points to 13. Newcastle, 14 games without a win in the league. It is not looking good. But on the opposite end of the table, Northampton Saints flying high, beating everyone's pantomime villain, Saracens. We love to see them get beat. 41 points to 30. And I feel like the 30 was generous from Saracens there. But it's fine.
Two charge down tries. Like, how often
2
do you see
touchdowns,
that?
guys. Yeah, very strange. But Theo McFarlane's fantastic.
Oh, mate, he's
I love
ridiculous.
watching it. And Ben Earl, like we praised Ben Earl, was like 8 weeks in a row just for the Six Nations. He's fantastic. But like we were talking about it during the week. This core that is in that Northampton Saints team should be, to our misfortune, it should be the England team for the most part.
Yeah, feels like I'm passing the baton
Yeah.
a little bit, right? Because it used to be
Absolutely.
Sarries that supplied all those players, and now the Saints are kind of taking over.
It's just good. It's just good rugby. But we'll keep going. On to the Saturday, Gloucester versus Bristol Bears, 33-24 to the Bears. We'll get back into this one in a minute, but at the Quins taking on Bath, 40 points to 36. And today, I don't really want to talk about it, but Sale Sharp, my beloved Exeter Chief, 41-5.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing I'll say, because he's not been capped yet, he's still available for both countries. Tom Roebuck, hat-trick hero. Does he pick Scotland? He was born in Inverness. Or does he pick England where he was educated, raised, his family, his friends, all that sort? He was in the England training camp this past Six Nations, but was not picked. Did we just put him on the summer tour for Scotland? Let him score a hat-trick against Canada. Let him have 1 or 2 against the United States. Have him like in double-digit tries to like 3 caps. That's what I'm saying. That'd be nice. That'd be unreal.
Give him Will Jordan stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
He'll know. Well,
Does he know?
He'll know exactly how close he is, having been in that extended squad. Like, they will have told him either you're a long shot or you're, they'll give you work-ons and tell you how much you have to improve. So my gut is if he's anywhere near an England space, he'll keep pushing for that.
I'm just saying it now to England.
He wants to come to New Zealand in the summer.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I've ruined him. That's not good. I was just going to rub the salt into the England fans' wins there, though, because Cam Redpath was on that tour to Australia with England, wasn't capped.
He was.
Played for Scotland. I'm just
True.
saying it could happen. Please.
Yeah, you never know.
Please do it. Darcy Graham's still injured, so why not? Give us the depth. Anyway, big controversial game. Quins versus Bath. Andy, take it away, because you're big stat man over here.
Oh, man. This one isn't even like complicated. Like, they
it's farcical, yeah.
Yeah, amazing game, like brilliant match. But if you haven't seen it, there's a moment where there's a Quins player off on a yellow card. He's only done about 7 minutes of the sin bin, and they just let him come back on the field. I watched the replay today, and it's hard to tell. The camera never catches. I assume he was waved back on. Like, I don't think you can just walk back on. Someone's told him you're good to go. And he's back in. And it's so funny because if you're watching on TV, they still had the 2 yellow card counters. Like, they were still running down the timer, and he's on the field. You can literally see him tackling people and doing stuff. So yeah, a real mess.
But it's okay, because Premiership Rugby, well, the RFU has apologised to both teams.
I
for
saw that. That was the
reasons.
most. Yeah, I guess they can't really say much else. I don't know what else we could expect from them, but I was kind of like, okay, we're just gonna move past this, apparently.
I'll go to bat for them on the double apology because, you know, if you're running the league, you owe every club in that league not having a mess up so bad that you drag everybody's name through the mud. And like Quinn's didn't do anything wrong, you know, they just did what they were told. And they've ended up getting dragged into this as well. So I do understand why they had to apologize to both teams. But I mean, how about a less than 24-hour cycle of apologizing, releasing the statement and saying, well, it'll do better next time, and then just getting on with your life?
Yeah,
it's
good.
so quick.
It's just weird. Like, I've never seen that happen.
No, I've never seen that happen either. Just
I saw that Harlequins were tweeting as well, and they like tweeted like Herb's back on, and with the time still, everyone was like, ah.
that can't be right.
No. Do you think that? You go.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wonder what the actual mechanics are, you know, because I've never played a game of rugby, like especially obviously at the Prem. But you know, is the fourth official standing there with a stopwatch, or is it a situation maybe? Well, I suppose on the TV they were still showing the yellow card, but you know, we've had the listening to the TMO. Are they watching the TV to keep track of it? I don't know. It's really a wild scenario.
Yeah, I think what's clear is they're not super on top of it either. You know, obviously they've just got too many. There's just too much going on. They don't have good enough processes. You know, I mean, the thing is, like, it happens even in like Premier League football, where there's way more money and way more focus. There are mess ups like this. Like, I think part of it is just, and it's one of the reasons you love live sport, right? Is literally anything can happen. Like, mad stuff can happen, and that extends apparently off the field and into the into the commentary box and all. Yeah,
but Arnie Herb's the person that got yellow card. He's not the smallest player.
No.
He's like 6'7", has a big, massive caveman beard. And yeah, oh, cool, Arnie's back on. Awesome.
I mistook him for Joe Marler in my video today, so maybe they also did. Maybe it was a case of mistaken identity.
That might be the excuse.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Maybe. But
it would have been a better statement if they said that.
That would have been iconic. I think. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Joe Marler. Arnie Herbs. Sorry. Apologies to both teams. But yeah, it was still a fun game. Great game.
Brilliant game.
Fun.
How good, like, if you give Finn Russell 13 players to play against, how good does he look? Like, he was just, that 10-minute period in the second half where they just scored loads of tries, he was amazing.
Just even though off was out the back, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, he really just let go in that second half and just played. That was great to watch.
I think that's, tries not to sound like proper biased here. I think that could be the most dangerous Finn Russell. See when like the pressure comes off the shoulders. Like the best example is that draw from England a few years ago. Like we were so dead and buried out that game. Townsend wanted to go one way, Finn Russell went, how about we do this? Got nothing to lose. There goes the pressure. Then it works. Just play like that all the time, please. That'd be so much fun.
Being up against 13 did help him on Saturday. You know, there is that.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. Like, if you could take the pressure off and have fun with it, he did it with the Lions as well in that third day.
He did,
and even he probably shouldn't have admitted it, but he did say like the playbook went out the window the minute he stepped on the field. I was like, maybe don't say that about a Lions tour, but I'm not the judge.
Listen, if you're that good and you can back it up,
that's very true. Yeah.
Would you say that Finn Russell came out on top over Marcus Smith in that game? Was he the victor in the Battle of the Magicians?
It's a difficult one because they both kind of just had great periods, you know? Like it never felt like they were going head to head.
Yeah.
But I mean, Finn probably finished with more. Mark's got to try, but Finn probably had more like game-breaking moments. Although Smith got an assist as well. Well, not quite, but the pass that set up the assist.
Finn gets like 3 assists.
That 50-22 as well.
There you go.
Unbelievable kick.
Well, can we let Ella decide who won that, Marcus Smith or Finn Russell?
I mean, I'm a Finn Russell stan, so I just don't think. Look, Marcus Smith has all the ingredients. I don't think we've seen at international level, which is where I watch more of him. I don't think we've seen the full rollout yet. I have hope. But yeah, I think Finn Russell Yeah, I'm a big fan. So on vibes alone, I will say that Finn Russell.
Nice, I like that. Plus, for celebration, a punch in the air has nothing to the gang signs thrown up every week.
That's
There you
true.
go. Go over to the URT because lots of high scoring for the most part in the URC this weekend. Starting off on Friday night, it was built up to be like a World Cup final. Leinster versus the Bulls. 47-14 to Leinster. What is the fucking point? Pardon my French, but it is. It just feels like that every time Leinster are at home, or every time people think, "Oh, I don't know if Leinster's going to win this." They like their starting lineup was not their strongest, but it's okay because they had Dan Sheehan and they come off the bench, and Dan Sheehan still got on the scoreboard. He is like the best hooker on the planet, and
He's ridiculous.
It's not even fun at this point.
Yeah, I tell you what though, Leinster were very lucky with the yellow card that McCarthy got just before halftime. That's he just fully piled into Aronson. He had no control at all. He got it completely wrong. Like I couldn't believe that wasn't given as a red. So I'm a Leinster fan, but I turned it on at halftime, so I didn't know that had happened. And then got to watch them just pummel them in the second half. This is brilliant. This is the best we've been in ages. And then you see that clip and you're like, oof, very lucky.
Lucky boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we had the Dragons beat Zebra. Now, I don't know if it's a bit harsh, but in my predictions, I said, who actually cares? Because let's be honest, Dragons aren't great. Zebra were doing great at the start, and it's just slipped off massively. So, it is what it is. Dragons going to win at home. Cool. Benetton being caught up with the last touch of the game, which was
that was wild.
Great try by Izakor. How he stayed in play. His leg went so far out. It was like, oh, it's going to go into touch. He's just like rebalanced and kept going. And then, it's not been a good weekend for me, guys. The Sharks beat my beloved Edinburgh because this tour to South Africa was just not fun for us. We got pummeled last week by the Stormers, and we can't swim in shark-infested waters either. Great, fun. Now we're in playoff contention for the week anyway. Ospreys, did not expect Ospreys to beat the Lions that comfortably, but fair play. I was very happy with Morgan Morris, man of the match. Hell of a player. He should be in the Welsh setup, I think. Especially going forward, looking to that tour of Australia. Get him capped.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Stormers Ulster, did not expect that to be that close. But very late try for the Stormers to get a win over Ulster. But fair play. And then Glasgow just absolutely obliterating Scarlets. Kyle Rowe, friend of the show, Kyle Rowe, getting a hat-trick. Lovely to see that. And Munster was a bit closer to Cardiff than I thought as well. 20 points to 15. Yeah. It was a weird weekend.
Yeah. Fair to say.
And just based off the result of my team, can you take the South Africans back to Super Rugby now?
I don't think they want to come back based on what I've seen.
Go away. I don't want them anymore. They've upset me now. Although
I was going to say, it's going to be really interesting at the end of the season when they've got the chance to maybe have some home playoffs. Like,
true.
I don't see anybody traveling and taking on, either the Bulls or the Stormers. I don't see anybody going there and winning.
It's not easy in South Africa. Definitely not.
No.
We've not forgot about predictions. There is a reason we've delayed it because there is no Premiership next week. There is no URC next week. We are back to, suppose, the most prestigious club trophy international now because the South Africans are here. Challenge Cup and Champions Cup is back. We're in the round of 16. Yeah, I'm excited. So we're going to do some predictions. Ella as well. I don't know how well you do.
I'll just do this.
You can just chuck your name. It's all good. You've got a 50-50 chance guaranteed.
That's true. That's true.
So starting off on Friday night, this is just all the Challenge Cup. We have Gloucester hosting Cast. I think Gloucester. I don't rate Cast that much.
I'm going to say Gloucester as well. Just the French team's not travelling well and all that.
True. Fair enough.
Same.
I like that. Solid choice.
Thank you.
Claremont hosting the Cheetahs, former URC, kind of no man's land Cheetahs. South African base will have to play their home games in Amsterdam. I don't know why that's a rule because we fly to South Africa.
Amsterdam.
Make that make sense. If so, if in the URC or the Champions or Challenge Cup for the teams affiliated to the URC, if it's a home game for them, the opponent flies to South Africa, to Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, wherever. But when the Cheetahs are home this year, because they were invited, they're based out in Amsterdam. But they're South African and we fly to South Africa. It makes no sense. It generally makes no sense. It doesn't matter anyway because Claremont's going to win.
Yeah, I agree.
Pointless side note, but it just annoyed me. It's annoyed me all season.
That is a crazy decision to make. Like,
yeah.
Anyway,
it makes no. There's no reasoning for either. I think they let the Cheetahs play in the groups at home when they happened to play the Sharks because they went, "Oh, you're both South African." I'm like, "Yes, it's not hard. It's not rocket science."
Well, I don't think many people in Amsterdam are turning out to watch the Cheetahs play rugby. You know, like that can't be great for a crowd.
Well, they played Poo, whatever you want to call them.
Oh, that's Sam Whitelock's team. I know them.
Yeah, Sam Whitelock's team. At the last group game in Amsterdam, but like it looked full of orange. But I'm like, that's just Netherlands. Everything that the Netherlands do is orange.
Did people just turn up thinking they were getting a Netherlands game and they were like, who's this?
Why not? Oh, look, the Cheers were orange in our team. That works. Mental. Anyway, yeah, Claremont's going to win that comfortably, I reckon.
I mean, you'd think so.
I'd like to think so. I don't want to go to a quarterfinal in Amsterdam.
I mean, that's not a bad weekend.
There's worse weekends, for sure. Ella, sorry, I didn't hear your prediction.
Oh, sorry.
During all that,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, Claremont for me too.
I'll
break away at some point, I'm sure.
I love the confidence coming off it. This one actually might be a bit tricky, bit of a URC derby. Benetton host the Lions.
Ooh.
Lions versus Lions, essentially.
Who have I got there?
I'm going to edge it to Benetton. Home advantage. No, there's no much. I don't have much reasoning behind it.
Yeah, something makes me think that just the panic, like the tension of the day, might get to Benetton, and the Lions might do it. But I think it's going to be close either way.
That's fair. There we go. We're actually split now. So Ella's the decider.
I'm going the Lions again. Vibes alone.
Next game.
I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be Benetton.
Next game, I will be there, loud and proud. Edinburgh versus Bayonne. Back your team. We're going to the quarterfinals. Easy. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'd go with you on that.
Oh, yes!
Bayonne didn't.
I'm a Ferguson. I'm a Ferguson, so I have to say Edinburgh, right?
Yes. That's the rules.
Yeah.
Bayonne didn't travel very well in the Champions Cup, did they? They didn't really seem to, although they might take it a bit more seriously.
But they did put 40 on the Chiefs last game.
Yeah, but that was like the game of their life. It was their only, I can't remember why. I feel like because of their top 14 fixtures, they couldn't field a strong team for their other home game. So they only had one home game where they were able, and it was their first time ever in the Champions Cup. They only had one real home game to target. That was the Chiefs. And so that's why they were so good that night.
So they had to take it on my team?
Listen, don't shoot the messenger.
That's fine. That makes no sense. Okay. Yeah, Edinburgh. Why not? We're now annoyed. We've lost 2 games in a row now. So full pack at home. Let's go for it. This game is interesting because originally I would have wrote this game off as a very easy win, but recent form, it could be a bit tired. Ospreys are hosting Sale Sharks. I'm going to let Ella pick first, just for fun.
All I know is that Rose is a Sale Sharks fan, and Sale Sharks have George Ford, So I'm going to pick them. I think they won this weekend in the Prem. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
everyone
I'm
just
back
kicks
in
me. Everyone just kicks me while I'm down on this show.
sale.
Brilliant on it.
I'm gonna go the Ospreys, but for the same reason, because by winning today, Sale basically put themselves back in the hunt. Today was kind of a last chance salute for them as to whether they could
Right.
make the top four. And I
Hmm.
don't think they'll be looking at both competitions with the same level of focus. So I'm going to go the other way.
Okay. Oh shit! I didn't think about it like that. They're both up there. I can't even use my jerseys to decide this week. I will go for Ospreys just because Ospreys haven't hurt me this season. That's my reasoning. That makes sense. Montpellier hosting Ulster. This could be very tasty indeed. I'm going to edge it to Montpellier. I think they thrive in a Challenge Cup for some reason. They love it. They live for it. I believe they've still got Kolbus Reinach. Paul Garbisi's at Toulon now, but they've still got Reinach and company there. Paul Williamson, I believe, is still in that mix. It's a very strong Montpellier side, and Ulster are very hot and cold at the moment.
And they're not great away. They're much stronger at home.
Yeah, Montpellier. Yeah, no,
I'll go with you on that.
You guys have convinced me it must be Montpellier. Very convincing.
I told you predictions. It's all good. Sharks versus Zebra. It's in South Africa. What's the point? Zebras can't swim in water. Simple. National Geographic says it. Zebras can't swim in water. Sharks are going to get something.
I'm with you there.
Even at oh no, Federico Russo's at Benetton. Doesn't even matter. Just said there was a nice head-to-head with there, but there's not. Lastly, Pau, Po, Poo, whatever, versus Connacht.
That's a tricky one because weren't Pau going really well at the start of the season? Or am I imagining that?
I don't know. I've tried reading the team sheet for Pau, and it hurts my head. You've got Sam Whitelock in the same team as Dan Robson and Joe Simmons, and it works. None of it makes any sense. But I feel like Ella's going to Pau just for Sam Whitelock.
Mate, if they're all playing.
Sounds like, yeah. I don't know if you saw the news, but I don't know how much longer Sam Whitelock's going to be at Pau. If you saw,
he's come back. Yeah,
Scott Robertson went on a little recce to France and said, "Sir, would you like to come back?" Allegedly. And so I read that. I think we initially thought he'd signed a 2-year deal, but I think it's a 1-year deal with an option to re-sign for another year. So on the basis of we're nearing the end of the season, Sam Whitelock's been there for maybe 3 months, I think Pau are going to do it.
What's this? Sam Whitelock's going to pull off a Dan Carter and sign for the Blues.
Oh, that would
but actually play.
But actually play. I see your little Blues jersey hanging back there.
Well, this whole thing.
This whole thing.
Oh shit! I've still forgot to do the Champions Cup. No,
Can I just ask, what's the view in New Zealand on him going back? What's the reaction to the story?
Two schools of thought, I think. Some people are like, this man, All Blacks legend, was in some incredible form in the World Cup, which I don't think people expected from him. So people excited to have that experience back. I think lock is a position that is looking a little thin at the international level. But then other people are going, it's time to move on. We need to blood these new players and get them in the test arena. But from the articles I was reading, it sounds like it's very much the idea that Razor had is like Whitelock come back for a season, train alongside these players, maybe be the bench backup, and kind of use his experience to help the potential new guys. So I'm pro it if that's the move. If it's going to be, let's just play Sam Whitelock until he's a husk of a human and send him off broken, maybe not. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure. It may just be all rumors. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It might not even happen.
Might not.
I like the idea of like having amongst the squad and like almost transition into a coaching role. I like that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so for him to be able to do that, he would have to sign with a Super Rugby team ASAP, which I imagine
With the
I think
Blues.
the Crusaders would be pretty happy to have him back at the moment, I imagine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it sounds like Artie Savia just did an interview like 2 days ago, and there's obviously been a lot of conversation around New Zealand letting players go overseas and still play for the All Blacks, and Artie Savia came out and was like, I think we should do it, which is a pretty big statement from potentially the new All Blacks captain. So who knows what could change in the next, I guess, 6 to 12 months for New Zealand rugby in terms of who's going to be available, because there's a long list overseas who could still be in the team.
Well, it's exciting. I like it.
That's massive
like
for them
it?
if they open that up. That would be huge.
Makes me
Also,
so
not fair for the rest of us if they open it up.
It's Richie. It's Richie. I feel like they'd change it just for Richie.
Richie, Ardy come back from Japan unless they're fine.
Yeah.
And Nuku comes back from France.
Aaron Smith's still in great form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why not? Let's just open up. And let's just open it up for New Zealand because that's what they need, a better player pool. Jeez. Champions Cup. It's a big one. Harlequins hosting Glasgow Warriors.
I'm going to say Quins. They're good at home.
I'm going to say Quins because Glasgow's never went this far in this competition. That's my only reason. It has nothing to do with the squad that they put out. But yeah, Quins, why not?
Yep, Harlequins.
Yeah, sounds good. Like that.
Sounds good.
Bulls versus Leon.
Oh, the Bulls.
That's got to be. It's in South Africa, isn't it?
Yeah. They play at altitude as well, don't they? So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do they? It's Bulls?
I think it's Loftus's altitude, isn't it? Because Sarries went there in the pool stages.
Yeah.
And they went fully loaded and everybody looked goosed after like 50 minutes. Like they just couldn't run. It was mad.
Because I know the Lions also play at quite high altitude as well. But yeah, it is. XR versus Bath. A little Premiership derby there. I have to. It's embedded in me. Back your team. XR for the win. I'm not confident. I'm not the most confident in it.
That's one of the hardest to call ties, I think, still in it. Because Exeter are normally really strong at home. They're a really good team. Maybe not where they've been in the last sort of 10 years, but they're still a great team. Yeah. And then Bath look really good, but they do make a lot of errors and they do ship a lot of points. So that one I feel like is on a knife edge.
Is at Sandy Park, if that helps.
Yeah. Something tells me Bath are gonna go for it and they're gonna get it done.
Oh, you suck.
You can be pro. Exactly, you can be pro Bath just for Finn Russell reasons. It doesn't have to be. Negative.
Don't make
entertainment value.
Wait a minute, who we got? Who's Scottish at Bath? Finn, Cameron Path, Rory McConaughey, technically, but not.
Bayliss.
Ah, yes, friend. Oh, you're making me use friend of the show logic. No, back your team. Extra for the win. Stormers versus defending champions La Rochelle in Cape Town. We all know what happened last time. Last kick of the game, Manny Lebock. But he's not been that good since. He's been very hot and cold, especially after the kick and tee. Yeah.
I have sort of a feeling about La Rochelle. I know all of the smart money is on the South African team winning at home because they are so strong there. But if there's any team that could go there and match them physically, in the whole competition, you think Leinster and you think La Rochelle. Those are probably the only two teams capable of doing it. So I don't know. I just have a feeling. I just think La Rochelle are going to do them. But
I'd like to see La Rochelle keep.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't call that one.
Don't look at me.
You could toss a coin if it.
Look, if you two are going La Rochelle, I'll go the Stormers.
Oh, yeah.
I've got
There's
to
no wrong
appease
answer.
I've got to appease the South Africans on TikTok.
We've got Bordeaux versus Saracens. Now, if it's anything like the pools, Bordeaux, easy.
I have a little bit of a feeling about this one too. I don't know why, because again, like all of some of the Bordeaux players who were brilliant in the club part of the season, in the early part of the season, them weren't great in the Six Nations. So you do wonder, like, will that disrupt them? They beat Toulouse last weekend. Dupont wasn't playing. They barely beat them. You know, winning at home in the top 14 is your bread and butter. So I don't know. I don't think they'll put 50 on them again. I think it'll be a lot closer than that. And I just fancy Saris. They have like a last dance feel about them this season.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I just like the Saracens get beat a lot.
Oh, listen, me too. But I just think they might win.
Fair enough. Ella, what you thinking?
I'll go Saracens too, on the basis that Owen Farrell last season, surely they're trying to rally, do everything they can for that man. 250 caps. I didn't realize for Saracens. That
unreal.
is an immense shift. Immense.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how close it was. He was actually going to go to rugby league.
Yeah.
Harvard does a show sometimes. Big rugby league fan, and he was saying, I want him to go to Wigan. He's not going to go to Wigan. Like, shut up. And apparently it was a lot closer than people think. So
really?
Yeah, fair play.
Good to know. I mean, his dad did it. The other way, but
yeah, why not?
I think all the things that rugby fans don't love about Owen Farrell are all the things that would serve him very well in rugby league.
Yeah,
I think, you know,
true.
Yeah.
There's an old interview. I can't remember who it is. It's a rugby league player, and they describe like who would be the perfect, like the greatest rugby league player ever. They're like, it's Owen Farrell. Like that's what you're looking for. You're like, he doesn't even play league. Like how? But yeah, just if you watch how Owen Farrell plays, he would be the perfect rugby league player. I'm like, all right, fair enough. Leinster versus Leicester. I don't even know why I'm asking. It's not as good as it once was. This used to be a big.
Yeah, this used to be huge.
Yeah. Leinster, comfy.
Yeah, I think Leinster.
Boring.
I'd be silly not to go against Leinster. I get the feeling.
They're at home. Is it at the Aviva or is it RDS?
It'll be at the Aviva. It's a knockout game.
Not any difference result-wise.
But they'll have. It's not fair. They'll have the whole Ireland team almost will be lining up for Leinster. Like,
let me see. You're going to have Cian Healy start, Dan Sheehan, Tyke Furlong, Joe McCarthy, James Ryan. No, yeah, you could. Ryan Baird at 6.
Yep.
Van der Fleer, Caelan Doris, Gibson Park. There's your Harry Byrne.
Harry Byrne, probably, yeah.
12.
If Ringrose is fit, Henshaw and Ringrose, but maybe Jamie Osborne and Henshaw.
I'll go Henshaw Ringrose.
Yeah.
James Lowe, Jordan Larmour, and Hugo Keenan. What?
It's not bad.
You're taking the piss. That's what's happening.
That is sick and twisted.
Disgusting behaviour. Anyway, next one on the Sunday could be very tasty. Physical, guaranteed. Northampton Saints hosting Munster.
Ooh.
I'm going to edge it to the Saints just because they're at home and the way they're playing this season. It's just really fun to watch. I like fun. I think,
and they got a big psychological win over Munster in the pools when they won at Thomond Park. They were down to 14 men. Finn Smith, I could not believe how good he was. Like, I'd heard a lot about him and I'd seen bits and pieces. You're like, oh, that guy's got a bit. But in that game, he played like he was 10 years older, been at the top of his game for ages. Like, he was phenomenal, like not fazed by anything at all. But Munster will feel they threw that game away and they'll be looking for a scalp. They'll be looking to get them back. Like they did, Munster were probably the better team for, I don't know, parts of that game anyway. So they'll still think they can do something, but I reckon they'll lose.
I'll be tight, yeah, but I'll go the Saints.
Yeah.
Ella,
Me
what's your pick? You
Me
go for the
too.
same thing. All good. And then finally, we have a little French derby. The European giants, Toulouse versus the ones that want to be giants, Racing 92. I don't even mean that in a bad way. Like, I've lost count of how many times Racing were like this close to getting a star on the jersey and just never happened. It might happen next year with Farrell, who knows? But
Yeah,
now that
maybe.
DuPont and into Max back, and no one.
Will DuPont
Hmm?
will DuPont be there next weekend because it's Hong Kong Sevens
It's Hong Kong Sevens not this weekend.
this coming weekend, 5th to the 7th of April.
Oh shit, he won't be available. Oh
International will be,
no.
but yeah, I don't think DuPont.
I'm sure they'll manage.
Yeah, I think they'll still win.
But
I think they'll still win.
interesting, just on the Sevens sidetrack again. So Australia have named Michael Hooper. He's finally in the squad for the Sevens, and France and Australia are in the same pool in the men's. So we've got a Michael Hooper, Antoine Dupont potential matchup in pool play. So for anyone who's interested in Sevens.
DuPont's just going to sidestep him, isn't he? Like, just, nope. See you later, Michael.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. No, I think Toulouse will get a win. They always just seem to shine when the spotlight's on them brightest, and especially in the Champions Cup. So yeah, I like Racing, but it just doesn't feel right this year.
No, but they do feel like in a year or two, like if they can hold on to all of that talent. I know, but now they've got a really good coach. Like we know Lancaster is a really good coach, but we just know it's going to take some time. And well, they're going to have to give him time first of all. Whether he gets it or not, we don't know. But if he's got Farrell in next year, because I don't know if you've watched much of them, but in Europe, like they just look like a rabble. Like as soon as the game breaks down at all, the team discipline's all over the place, and you've got like poor old Khaleesi like trying to keep everything structured. Yeah. But if they have a couple more lieutenants in there, it could help.
It's such a weird setup because, like, you've got Nolan Legaric at 9, who's fantastic. You've got Henry Arundel on the wing, who has just took like a duck to water over in French rugby. You've got Sia Khaleesi, who's one of the best captains ever. Yeah, it's not clicking on the European stage yet. I don't know why.
Right. If the culture's not right, it takes a while to change that, you know?
That's fair. That's very fair. But I've gone Toulouse. I think, Andy, you've gone Toulouse.
Yeah, I'll go Toulouse.
I'll go Toulouse.
Toulouse, yeah. Fun, just for fun then, because you mentioned it, who's winning the Hong Kong Sevens?
Well, last year was a back-to-back Blackfin Sevens, All Black Sevens, but our women have been great. Our men have not been so good. France obviously won their first tournament in, 19 years or something, in LA. So look out for them. The Argentinian men are great. The Aussie women are unreal. The Aussie men are pretty good. I'm going Blackfin Sevens to win the women's. And I'll go Argentina to win the men's. That's my call. And if France back to back on the men's, then I would be very scared going into the Olympics.
Into the Olympics, yeah, because like the tail end. No, I like Argentina to win it for the men's. I'll go for that. Don't want to offend you, but I kind of want to see the Wallabies win the girls.
They're out. They're so good. Like, I don't know if any of you have seen Madison Levi, who plays, she's this, I don't know how tall she'd be, maybe 6'3", just like pure athlete. Pardon?
Friend of the show, Levi sisters, we've had them both on.
Yeah, Levi sisters, both there. But yeah, I'm obsessed with her. I think she's outrageous.
We have had Michaela Boyd on the show as well.
Pardon?
We did have Michaela Boyd on the show as well. So
also a freak. So quick. And she was incredible in LA. So yeah.
They're always incredible. They're absolute freak athlete.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I think it'll be good. Such a staple of the Sevens circuit. So I'll be parked in front of the TV all weekend again.
Yes, same. Well, apart from me going to the Edinburgh game, I'll be parked watching all the games, trying to do reviews on each game without stealing anyone's content. Also
Just don't
looking
watch
at
it.
Andy.
Just don't watch anything.
Yeah,
It
then you don't
always
know.
comes up as soon as I go on TikTok. Andy's face is there, and he goes, "Well, that was a great game." I'm like, "You asshole!" I was just about to record.
Just unfollow me, Murray. It's the
No,
kindest thing to do
I
at this
won't
point.
do that. I won't ruin our friendship over it. It's all good. But that's been rugby this week. A lot of it, but it was fun. We had internationals. We had Prem, we had Super Rugby, we had URC, we had predictions for the following week. We've had some seven sprinkled in. So next week, I believe you've said there was a bye week for Super Rugby, or not enough to talk
Yeah.
about.
There's only 4 games next week.
Next week could be really easy because there's no
Really easy.
there's no Women's Six Nations, there's no Prem, there's no URC. It is Challenge, Champions Cup, and maybe a bit of sevens. Easy work next week. Nice and easy.
Man, Champions Cup weekends are my favorite thing.
So good.
Like
Just watch
my
every
favorite
week.
weekends of the year. I love the Champions Cup. It's because in Ireland the provinces have always taken it really seriously. Munster started winning them when I was a kid, so there's this real nostalgia factor around it. I love it so much.
Yeah, we get it. You're good at rugby. We are trying. We're getting there.
When was the last time, Murray, that the All Blacks played Scotland?
2022, and it still hurts. What? We were so close. We've never beat you. We have never beat you.
No.
And every game gets close. The scoreboard's a bit closer, and I always get stuck for after because I say we're going to make history.
Well, I mean, that's what people used to say about Ireland, and then they did it. So,
Well, maybe that's the catalyst. Beat the All Blacks, and we're just going to skyrocket and take over.
Exactly, that's what does it. No, but I just would love.
Well, didn't hurt us, did it? I mean, it was pretty good for Ireland.
Let's do it
pretty
in
good.
Chicago
I would
as
just
well.
love it. Scotland All Blacks series. I just haven't really, like back-to-back games. I just think their styles would be so interesting.
Yeah, we talked about this. Me and Andy did a couple of weeks ago. There was we were talking about Scotland's tour for the summer. Ireland's away to South Africa, Wales, Australia, England, All Blacks, and then Scotland's away to the Americas. I'm like, okay, it's a good one because we could use lots of fresh talent, get a lot of new caps in. But why don't we get the big ones? And then I said that there was a rumor, I think it was before COVID, that Scotland were meant to do a 3-test series against the All Blacks, and it just never happened.
That would have been really cool.
Last time I checked, everything that happened before COVID that got cancelled because of it, you just reschedule it till after. It's not what everyone did with their weddings and films and everything. Yeah, Scotland going to New Zealand just didn't happen.
Where is it, people? Where is it?
I want to see Duhan van der Merwe run down the wing and see who's on the opposite wing. Severies. I want to see Severies try and stop Duhan. It ain't happening though. I don't even know why I've got a fighting word. We're not even playing these this year. Pointless, but yeah.
After the Six Nations, I just wanted to ask, what's the view in New Zealand after the Six Nations about England as a proposition in the summer? Yeah?
Maybe it's just me scared. I read that old Borthers was here last week doing some scoping. So I hope he had a nice flight. I feel nervous about it personally. I think everyone post World Cup, post the trauma of 2022, you just never feel confident anymore, which is a new feeling. Maybe good. I don't know. I used to have friends who were like, it'll be good for World Rugby if the All Blacks lose more, it'll be good for World Rugby. And then now I'm like, was it good? How are you feeling? Are you enjoying this? But yeah, I think it'll be a really good series, but it's only 2 tests and then the return at Twickenham. So I would like to go to the game. There's one happening here in Auckland. But yeah, I think that Ardie Savia Ben Earl matchup is going to be spicy. That is going to be really good.
Oh, I can already feel the hate in my comments for the 15s over the summer. I can already feel it coming. The marker.
You know who I want to see is Scott Barrett against George Martin. That's 2 of the thickest lumps of men that I've ever seen just smashing into each other. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's come at a good time for both teams. This will be during really interesting parts of their journeys. So big year for Razor. It's not an easy schedule. That Ireland test is freaking me out at the end of the year, and 2 tests against South Africa in South Africa. So could be rough.
Well, if it's any consolation, that Ireland game is freaking me out too. So, there's fear on both sides.
I think it just has gotten to now we're in a rivalry where it's really back and forth, right? So like you get one and then they get up over you again, and it's just going to be back and forth for a while. So which is good.
I just want a rivalry that isn't England. We have one rivalry. We win all the time now. It's boring. It's easy.
You're over it.
For what it's worth, Murray, I would trade all of the rivalry and all of the memories for winning that quarterfinal. So,
Yeah.
No.
It's
I can't remember the last time I've seen a quarterfinal for Scotland. That was robbed as well. Jesus. It's hurting me left, right, and centre this show. It's all good. Andy, always a pleasure.
You too, mate.
And Ella, welcome to RCP. Welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me. What a joy.
And the time difference wasn't even that hard.
No, not hard at
Dead
all.
simple. It's dark here, it's light there. Sorted. But
Exactly.
we're on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We're on Spotify. Hit the follow button. Instagram. Follow us all on No, me and Ella are on Instagram. Andy doesn't do Instagram. He just does TikTok, and he's showing off at it.
I'm too lazy to do
Andy
Instagram
to
as well.
50K.
Yes, very close.
I was convinced you were at 50k, but if you're not, let's get up to 50k quickly.
Yeah.
And please get me to 10k. I feel a bit behind. But it's fine. We're all on TikTok. Ella, I think you're just at Ella Ferguson, aren't you?
I think Ella Ferguson 5, I think.
5. I always remember 5. First fan Whitelock. There you go. Andy is at Rugby Nose. And if you really want to, I'd appreciate it, you can follow me at +4RugbyHQ. There you go. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. I think somebody does our Twitter. I share it on LinkedIn. We're on TikTok. Yeah. We'll be back next week. And then